Warning, this podcast is not for the faint of heart. We keep it real and raw and talk about issues that other podcasts wouldn't dare. This is the Truth of the Matter podcast with Dr. Spencer. Step into our world. What do you do if you fall in love with one of your kids' friends who's over 18? How do you handle getting caught in bed with your boss? Why do girls like bad boys? Are you burned out from an unbalanced career and personal life? Are you still working while your kids are telling you how their days went? Our passion is to help people in relationships, anyone you have a connection with in life, neighbors, coworkers, family, spouse, kids, yourself, and helping you achieve the work-life balance. Let's have some fun and let's get educated. This is the Truth of the Matter podcast. And now your host, Dr. Lamar Renee Spencer.
All right, here we go. Okay, so you know who it is, Dr. Lamar Renee Spencer, and I am a certified life alignment strategist and life coach, relationship and business coach. Now, enough about me. Today, I have Mr. Nathaniel Noble, also known as Nate Smoove. I can't even actually introduce him enough because, his resume is pretty extensive, way more extensive than mine, right? So we want to say thank you so very much for his service. He is an Air Force veteran. He's also very talented songwriter, producer, just to name a few. And he has a podcast. We're going to talk about that later because I want him to give you all the details on that. But it's called We Talk About Life because it happens to everyone. So thank you so very much, Nate Smoove, for actually coming on again because, of course, the first time I didn't record or something happened. I always tell people, like, look, I'm starting on this journey. He's a veteran. So you know what? Here we go. So how you doing today? And happy belated Father's Day.
Thank you. You had to pull out my recording name, huh? I was coming on as Nathaniel Noble Jr.
I'm sorry. Look, I gotta give you all the credit because, like I said, you're expensive.
I'm just me. But anyway, thanks for inviting me onto your show. I'm just gonna be my humble self.
You are, and I think that's what makes you great because you are humble, and you're always since we started talking, and I'm like, wow, it's only been a couple of weeks, but I'm like, you're always willing to share information. I picked your brain, and you kind of do it with ease, right? And I'm like, wow. So I gotta make sure I give you all the accolades. People need to know where to find you.
Thank you. Let's see, I brought my audience with me. Thank you. I keep them in my back pocket.
Look, see, that's gonna be my question now, because I don't know how to do all the the sound effects. I need to know how does that work?
Well, I have a Rode Podcaster board here, so I got push buttons with pre-programmed stuff. So I don't know what you're using on your end, but I'm sure you can find some way to do that in StreamYard.
I don't have all of that cool stuff.
You don't really need all that.
Yeah, I do. I like that. I want my own audience,
Okay, I'll send you the link of the product after the show.
Okay. All right.
That's just another expense you're going to add to your bill.
No. $20 here, $50 here, it all adds up. So I'm like, no. Yeah. And I don't know. I just pick everything, But thank you so very much for coming on again. Again, I appreciate it. And, today we're going to talk about different relationships as we once, we did last time. And especially now, relationships are important. They always were. But I'm hearing more about mental health and self-care, especially since COVID and even now. And, honestly, people have actually I'm not going to say relearned, but have a different relationship with their spouse because, we've been kind of cooped up in the last couple of years. And that's been one of the things that I've been hearing about. They're like, hey, wait a minute. I gotta admit, I don't even like my spouse. I'm like, really? They're like two ships sailing in the night. And I'm like, no, and I know you didn't have that experience. It's like, you always speak highly about your wife, And I was like, wow. So what you think about COVID? Is it post-COVID now? You think it has done something to relationships?
Well, I wasn't cooped up. I was an essential worker, so I never stopped. Actually, I got busier. So I didn't have those cooped up experiences with my wife. And we talk about everything all the time anyway, so it wasn't no problem. But and then if I was cooped up, I know how to go to my man cave and create stuff and keep myself occupied without getting on my wife's nerves. So we got to figure it out. But I don't know. It's just the people figure out. They usually go to this job and I'm going to that job or this career or whatever, and then they kind of got their time apart, so they're not around each other. But now you put them in the homestead all together with the kids and each other, and they're not used to operating like that other than like the weekend or vacation. So now you got them 24/7. They locked up. Now they figuring out all the stuff they really wasn't close on and thought they knew about each other, and it comes out to the surface. It could have been just a reset program where they can figure out like, hey, some things we need to work on, and we had these issues and stuff. We didn't notice them until this time, so let's work it out or get some help or figure it out.
That's exactly what it was. I think that's a good term to use, reset, because honestly, forget the family, but I had to reset with my coworkers. I'm like, wow. I can't just kind of go in my office anymore. Now I got you on Zoom, and it, like, for me, it just kind of popped up, and I'm like, wow, like I really didn't want to do that. I was in my pajamas, I really didn't want to go there with you like that, But let's get on another thing. So, we talked about it before, but here it is. Your first wife was younger, and now the second wife is older. So I know people now are thinking, okay, I think I need to get somebody older, because the younger ones may be a little bit more problematic or immature. And I'm like, no, I think it depends on the person, because I've seen some older people that bring a lot of baggage. I've seen younger people bring a lot of baggage. I think it depends on the individual person. So
yep, that's what I think too. Individual sport here. Because you can have a young, wise person like myself. I was always a younger guy that, listened to the older people. So I wasn't the typical young guy with stupidity going all over my face and my decisions and thoughts. So, or you can have an old fool, that just never matured, and he's old, or he or she is old, but they still like immature mentally. So you can't say young or old, or we got married too young or whatever, because I don't know. There's no excuse. You just make it work if you want it bad enough.
Right. So tell us the story again about, like, when you got with your second wife and the difference of the first and the second. Especially like when it comes to blended family, your children are so far apart in age.
Well, the first wife, I think it was like 19 and 20. We got married and no kids. So I'm from New Orleans. My first wife from Mississippi. Big difference, city boy, country girl, So a lot of big stuff don't excite me, but to a country girl, that's a whole new like a amusement park with a city life. So anyway, we got married, learned each other. 2 years in there, had a daughter, and then was it almost 2 years later had another daughter or something like that. I can't remember yet. 90 was it 91 and 94? So 2 kids. And then something happened and we had to break up. So then I got with my next wife, which 12 years senior. So she had already had kids, raised them up. I think our youngest one was getting out of high school or going to junior college. So her kids was grown and pretty much gone. And I had the 2 babies. So we had to work that out. So she kind of helped me raise those 2 girls, and so now they got a bonus mom, and I got some bonus kids and grandkids. So, but it worked out fine because we got along, and we was friends first. My second wife, we was mostly friends, which we still are, and she had more experience for a previous marriage. She was married, with her kid's father. So it's like she already knew what to do. Been down that road, just needed a good person to hook up with, like myself. And we've been rolling ever since 96.
Wow.
Married since 98.
Wow. Now, did the older kids treat the younger kids like siblings, or more like mentees, or were they like parent to child? Like, how was that relationship?
That was cool because my baby, when I came on the scene, my babies was like 2 and 4 and a half, something like that. So they was like, those little siblings. It was on the weekend, they weren't with me like full time. We had joint custody, but it worked out because my second wife had 3 grandkids around the same age, a couple of years older and stuff. But so they kind of blended in, like that was the extra little brothers they didn't have. So somehow it worked out. It worked out. It wasn't easy for me because I was used to being married to the first lady, and I had to come out of that psychological warfare I was going through with that, and then transition to the new one. But somehow it worked out, and like I said, it's been rolling smooth ever since. Communication is key.
Yes. What you think about communication? Because so often, I have done, kind of some writings on it, but I hear people always say that the person is not communicating with them, or, to me, it's almost like being emotionally unavailable. And, you have to find your love language. And kind of adjust and go from there. But you're right, communication is the key. Was it an adjustment, even to communicate? Because I know sometimes I don't always effectively communicate. Yeah.
Hey, Doc, can you give me 1 second? I have my little dog, and she's communicating with me now, saying, "Open this door." I'm gonna sit here scratching.
I hear scratching because mine.
Yeah, give me a second.
Go right ahead.
She is. I'm telling you, when I get busy, she want to be right here with me, and then she want to go in and out. Give me 1 second.
Oh no, go right ahead. So you guys, I know if you're tuning in, we're talking about relationships in various areas of relationships. And, relationship is just not someone that you're intimate with. Relationship is your colleagues, your kids, your managers, your neighbors, your clergy. All those are relationships because you actually have a connection to and or with. So that's why we are talking about relationships. I know a lot of people think, it's just intimate, but it's really not that. It's not. So let me talk about one other thing too. You said you had 2 daughters, and I always say that the relationship between fathers and daughters are essential. Were you, so as a father, to especially like now, of course, since Kobe coined the term girl dad, how do you think that relationship was with your daughter? I mean, did you guys needed to have the talk? Like how was that?
The talk? I just keep it real with them. I just keep it real life with them. No sugarcoat nothing. Just my girls and I, we have a great relationship. And I always, show them love and care, concern, listen to them, explain to them, life principles. Show them by example what type of guy, what a guy and a man, how you treat a lady, how you treat kids, animals, whatever, work ethic. I gave them the whole gamut of manhood.
Right. See, my father and stepfather didn't do that. And so it didn't make them bad parents because they were excellent when it came to that, right? But we didn't have those conversations. Especially my stepfather, he believed, and when I say stepfather, I'm just using it as a reference here because he's really like my father. But his thing was, okay, I'm going to provide, I'm going to protect. But we never had those conversations, and my father didn't either.
Yeah, you leave that for your mom.
Yeah, we didn't have those. And I wished we had, those conversations because I kind of feel like the men that I dated kind of was like, and I know it sounds weird, but not like that, but like that father figure. And luckily, the guy friends I had, and even the guys that I, dated, I really appreciated that because it wasn't like they were, how they say men are dogs. No, it wasn't like that at all. I learned so much, And I talk about the importance of fathers and daughters and it being okay to come to, especially your father, because who else knows a man better than your father?
Yeah, it's funny because my girls always says, Dad, it's easier to talk than you than it is, Mom.
See?
I listen and then I give them sound advice, and that I pretty much I give them the scenario, whatever's going on or whatever they're dealing with. And I put it much back on them where they got to make a decision on that. Here's the pros and cons. Now you got to make a decision. You can go this way or you can go that way, but it's up to you. Now, if they ask me for my advice, I'll give it to them, but I'm going to tell them, this is how I see it. Now you make your move. Well, it's always them using their brain. I'm not guiding their life. I need them to make critical decisions.
Yeah, it's like a coach.
Right.
See, I like that. I really appreciate I really wished I had that. And again, great guys, but we were talking about how we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't raised to have opinions.
Oh, no. Nope.
And you being in the Air Force, my father was in the Army and the Marines. You didn't have an opinion. It's like, this is what it is, and that's it.
Yeah, well, I had some of those moments with my kids. Yeah, the teenagers around, when it's like, well, why? That ain't fair. Life don't give a damn about you. I'm just telling you how to navigate through it.
Yeah.
So, suck it up, buttercup.
I know. So what advice can you give us, especially raising teenagers? Because mine just turned 14. I have to say, it's like she changed overnight. And it's scary.
You got to be real with them. And you got to let them know how life is out there. And then you got to always remind them when they start bucking up, like, hey, I got a job to do and you got to do it. I'm the parent. You're the kid. You do your job, I do my job, and everything's going to work out. But if you're crossing the line, we're going to have some issues. So
I know.
Do your part. Right. I mean, but this times now, my kids was teenagers, I guess I don't know when it was, 10 years ago or whatever. But anyway, it was a different time now. Now it's like, just things can change every decade and stuff. So it gets worse and worse for as, distraction these kids have and, the attitudes they have, like you're their problem. And, the world is, everybody in the world loves them and you're the problem, but it's the opposite, So you got to remind them like, hey, when the smoke clear, I'm still going to be here in your corner. So don't burn this bridge here. Cause this bridge is the foundation you're going to build everything else on. And you don't want to ever tarnish that. Just got to stay in their head.
Yeah.
And let them know, keep it real with them. Don't be sugarcoating nothing. Life don't sugarcoat.
I know. Sometimes I feel like I'm so direct, and I feel like sometimes I go overboard.
That's just because you care.
Yeah. I'm like so afraid. And, I know everyone, of course, you love your children, no matter if you have 1 or 10, right? But I have one, and I'm an only child. And I feel like I'm overly protective because it's just her.
Mm-hmm. A female too, yeah.
Yeah, it's just her. And I mean, it's the silliest things that I get upset about. Like I'm taking her and her friend to the beach tomorrow. And one thing I'm like, oh, come on, really? And I'm telling her, I'm like, look, and I know this sounds silly. I'm like, you need to be careful on the rides. If you feel like you're not buckled in, you need to get off. Like all these little things, because all this stuff in
no more. You gotta pull back a little bit on the the little stuff, like be careful. She knows she gotta be careful. If she don't, she'll find out once she slip and crack something.
Yeah.
You can have that look like.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm like,
pick your battles, Mom. Pick your battles, because it's unnecessary stress on you too. Because then you gotta unreel it a little bit, let them trust them a little bit to make good judgments after all the stuff you didn't taught her the last 14 years. So until they do some major mess ups, you gotta kind of that little shoulder tap, like But yeah, teenagers, an exciting time for them, and they figuring out stuff, learning stuff. They got friends. That's more important than the parents. And just gotta let them know.
I know, that's the thing, and I always said I'm not gonna be like my parents, especially my mother. I'm not gonna be like that. I'm like just like her.
Yep.
I'm just like her.
Well, it worked for you, so you figured it work on them, huh?
Yeah, but it's different because we didn't have internet. There was no
Right.
social media. We didn't
It's
have
like
all.
you gotta learn a new language to communicate with these kids now because they got so many distractions.
Yeah, I even find myself like texting her like, "Hey, where are you? What you doing?" I'm like, they didn't have all that. And even like the drugs now, like we had weed, coke, heroin. Now they have lemon extract, embalming fluid.
Yeah, they got everything.
Gas. And I'm like,
all you can do is teach them the right thing and tell them the right from wrong, and hopefully they make sound decisions that, I mean, you can't protect them like 100%. All you can do is give them the information and hope and pray they use it wisely. I used to tell my girls all the time, I'm like, look, I got all this wisdom and knowledge. One of y'all gonna have to carry the baton. I can't have two stupid kids. So whoever pick it up, just pick it up and carry it on to keep my name going, because don't let me die with all this in me and you guys don't utilize this stuff and you both fall off as idiots. No, but they come along.
See, that's the thing too. I'm like,
but you got to keep preaching it. You got to keep preaching the right stuff to them. That's what my grandma did to me. She said, when I'm dead and gone, my words gonna be ringing in your ears.
Isn't that the truth though?
Always preaching and teaching the right stuff.
Yeah. So you were raised by your father, correct?
I was raised by my
grandmother?
Parents when they was married, then they broke up. Then my mother, single parent, and then my grandma stepped in, helped us out. Then when I turned teenage, I went live with my dad all my high school years. So the raising with my dad was just my high school years, and that was badly needed. From like 13 to 18. That was I don't know who I would be or what I would be if I didn't have that time with my father. As a teenage boy.
And that was pretty tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I loved it because it was my dad. And I know he cared for me, and he was trying to teach me how to be a man and stuff. So I didn't have a problem with it. I just needed to learn I needed to learn his language and work within his system. And then when I got graduated, I had to get out of there. His system wasn't going to be my future.
Yeah.
But I took what I needed.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. We were talking about that. I said, how our parents and grandparents and all that raised us is completely different. We needed to have a thick skin.
Mm-hmm. That was for life, though. You need that for life. It looked like everybody these days and beyond is like thin skin, just easily toppled over by life and the situations. So I was trying to teach those hardened principles to my kids or whatever kid is in my presence.
Right, and you're absolutely right, because for me, I'm like, they didn't even beat around the bush. They were like, look, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You go to jail, don't call me.
Oh yeah, my dad told me that, and that scared me. Like, whoa, because he was my homie. I can't call my dog. Oh, I guess I won't be going to jail.
Yeah, and I know for me, I have to say, like, I believed it.
Yep, I believed it too.
Yeah,
he meant it.
Yeah, and and I said one time I got arrested. I got locked up because of a parking ticket that my cousin had. I mean, it was like a few tickets. And I was just like, please don't call her. Please. And I was almost upset that she answered the phone, because I was like, no, I'm just going to stay here. She'll
safer in jail.
Yeah, she'll find out, because most parents back then, you call either the morgue or the jail.
Uh-huh.
I was like, nah, I'll just take my chances. But then I realized it's like 6:00 and nobody's eating dinner. I was like, oh, they don't serve dinner at like 4:00, and this ain't no hotel. Like, you can't get room service. You want to get that dry bologna sandwich, no mayonnaise or mustard on it. And I was like, I better call her. I was like, oh God, she answered the phone. Why? Why? And I'll never forget my bail order, because the price of the ticket was like $250 something, and I had like $5 short. You ain't going to no Mac machine. They got to bring that money to you in cash in the exact amount. And I was like, oh God, really?
Here she come.
Yeah. And she, I was like 30 minutes away. And I remember calling them, like, and she's like, well, where are you? In Jersey, we have like town called Somerville. She's like, no, they're just gonna have to bring you to Madison. I was like, it's 30 minutes away. This is not like a cab. They didn't have Uber. They didn't say a cab. She's like, well, I'm not coming to get you. They need to come down. And I'll never forget, the police officer was like, ma'am, if you don't come and get her, she's gonna stay the weekend because court isn't until Monday. It was a Friday. And she's like, I'm not getting out of my bed. Y'all gonna have to bring her. And they brought me up there, and I was like, why? Why?
Wasn't happening.
No. And I tell people, like, I don't know how people do it, because the back seat of those police cars are not comfortable. They're probably not meant to be comfortable. You're handcuffed and you're moving, and they start waving like you're down and you can't get back up because you don't have arms to help you. And I was just thinking, like, either she gonna kill me or I'm gonna die in the back of this car.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Not even from police brutality, just dying because I was like, I'm all over the place.
Just driving left and right, turning and stopping and going.
Yeah.
Getting banged up back there.
Yeah, getting banged. I was like, oh, I never want to go through this crap again. Your inch can't scratch because you're locked up. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. I'm like, how we grew up different, because now I feel like I have to explain more.
Yeah.
They
want to know why.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And I'm like, really?
Life ain't fair. That's not fair.
Yeah. I read somewhere where a kid asks about 300 questions per day on an average.
Sheesh.
Now that might be a lot, but I'm like, my daughter ain't too far off, because she does ask why.
They want to know. And if you don't let them know, the street's gonna let them know. So I would rather let them know the right way, and then they can just see, oh, this is the right way, and then that's crap.
Right. You're absolutely right.
They're gonna find out. So.
Oh yeah.
Talk to them.
Yeah, you're right. And I was like, oh my gosh, she gonna really ask, and she want to know. But like I said, maybe the way we grew up wasn't right necessarily. Well, it was right for that time. But I'm like, now they do want to know why. Like, there was no such thing as you even questioning what someone said. You just did it.
Right. Now they can Google it.
Yeah.
Or YouTube and get all kind of answers from around the world.
Right. And that's what I said. I was like, shoot, YouTube and Google and TikTok raising your kids now.
Right. So that's why you got to give them the brutal, honest truth about everything in life that to help them make sound decisions when that other stuff come in. And then keep that door open, so if they do run across some stuff out there, they can come and ask you, like, Dad, Mom, I heard this and this. What you think about that? Because my kids be like, well, that, like, if something going on major in the news or whatever stuff, they're like, hey, what do you think about that? And then we have a conversation. What do you feel about this? Then I tell them what I feel.
Yeah, and that's great.
It's like they bounce it off of me to kind of see what my head is at on any subject. I appreciate that too, though. But that door is always open,
See, I like that, because I don't want her to feel like she can't ever come to me and say anything.
Right.
But I know I go too far with stuff.
Well, you got to dial it back a little bit.
I'm telling you.
Especially when you know you're going too far.
Yeah, I know.
And then you could ask her. It's like, she's 14 now, so they talk to a lot of people, with friends, and friends got different backgrounds and upbringings and stuff. So they learn a whole bunch of different lifestyle choices and attitudes. So you can ask her, like, hey, if you can change anything about me, mother or daughter, be honest with me. What some things that you think I do too far or whatever, so you can meet in the middle somewhere where she understand that, okay, you're listening and you're gonna work with me and stuff. Cause they gonna do what they do. They're gonna do what they do. You just hopefully they communicating with you.
I know.
I'm glad I'm past that phase. That's all I'm saying.
I know, and
I done wrote songs about teenage years with them kids.
Are you serious?
It's called Daddy Talk. It was me talking to my kids, about what I care about them and how I'm trying to guide them and teach them. So yeah, it's a couple of songs I was talking about them kids.
I think that's really cool though. Yeah, because that's another way of getting to them.
Yep. Yep. And other parents can relate.
I'm gonna tell you, I always said I'm never gonna be like my mother. I'm not gonna be like my father. And I swear, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's something she would say.
Yep, but it's in the DNA. You got to fight against that stuff. Because I'm definitely not raising my kids the way my dad was raising us, and his lifestyle he was doing. Dad was in the women, the weed selling and all that stuff, and just
Right.
3 women, 2 of them pregnant at the same time. I can't live that way. Yep.
You're absolutely right. I'm trying to keep that door open, and she does kind of tell me, I'm trying not to, because all of a sudden, but I just go into defense mode.
Yeah, but you got to listen to them too, because they be telling you stuff. They be telling you what's going on with them.
Yeah. If she oh yeah, someone was arguing with me, I'm like, where are they? I'm about to go fight the kid.
Thug mama.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't be doing that. I'm gonna get locked up. I just can't be bothered with all that.
And then she gonna really be without you. So you gotta pick your battles and pray more, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be
God watch them.
Too. Yeah. I'll be getting locked up too, and I'll be like, I can't be doing that whole locked up thing.
Yeah, you already experienced that. That you ain't about that life. Yeah.
But
cool head.
I sure it. But let me ask you, speaking of this whole raising daughters and things like that, and you heard about the whole Bill Cosby thing. He just got found not guilty, financially. What's the term they use? Responsible. And the girl said she was like 15 and 16. What do you think about that? Do you think 15 and 16-year-old girls should be, at a party like that? Because they go to parties now. But I don't think, that, like I said, at 15 and 16, I'm still thinking that your parents are responsible and they should know where you are. Am I right?
Yeah, but kids sneak away, sneak out. You're doing devious things. You'll be at work or whatever, asleep. They gone. So I don't know the whole story and what time, what years, or whatever just took place. Yeah, 74, 15 or something. I had the fear of my parents in my head, so I wasn't really doing no stuff like that.
Right. And girls are different.
Yeah, but I was doing some devious stuff, but I'll make sure I was at home at night.
Yeah, that was the alarm clock.
The street light was the alarm clock. That light come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know the story of Bill, because I haven't been following all that nonsense, because you're talking 40, 50, almost 40 something years ago. I don't know who to believe, because back then, rich black guy, everybody wanted him. All the women throwing themselves at him. They trying to get in the room after hours or whatever. So they want to be famous. They want to be with the famous guys, so they're gonna sell their soul to be there. So he's got to be responsible for what he did, but still, you can't just put the blame 100% on that guy, because if these kids was doing, young ladies was supposed to be where they're supposed to be, and not with some grown man trying to be, attracted to some money and power, then you wouldn't have that issue.
Right.
I don't know the whole story, so I can't really talk on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, when it comes to teenagers, because I did it too. You telling a guy, oh yeah, I'm much older, but you ain't.
I guess that you little fast tail down.
Yeah, and my mother was strict.
I know, and that's sometimes I'd be the worst ones.
Yeah,
the strictest, the little the PKs, the preacher kids, and all that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't out of control. Like I didn't do drugs and all that, but yeah, I would figure out ways to kind of get around it.
Yep.
And it was. I felt like, we had like different, I'm not gonna say projects, but kind of like projects, and those kids were better than the rest of us were. And our parents would say, no, you can't go hang with them. I'm like, nah, they know a lot more than we do.
Right. They had a lot of street wisdom.
Yeah, we're the ones, the criminals, not them. That's just the way it was. Shoot. I have to say, I told the guy, I was like, oh, I'm 18. I wasn't. I was only 15.
Nowadays you can't tell. The stuff in food got the kids developing quicker now.
Yeah. You know, you can't tell somebody, you're right, you even lie. Shoot, now people could just Google you. You know? And let me just point out, I wasn't one of them little fat, not you, but I wasn't one of them little fast girls. I was scared of my mother. I just wanted to get out and have me a good time. After hours.
Sometimes out there having a good time, you end up pregnant, like, oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of that, but I have to say, sometimes good girls like bad boys because it's more exciting until next thing you know, you end up in some paperwork. You know, that's just the way it goes down. But let me see. I'm thinking of I'm like, shoot, we had such a good conversation last time, and I'm like, what else?
We all talked out.
Yeah, that's exactly what it seemed like. And tired because you know you had Father's Day last weekend. Then on top of that, you had work. I mean, it's just like one thing back to back to back.
That's that life. The life series.
Yeah. And when somebody called me like 8 or 9, I'm like, it's still early, but I'm like, I don't even want to talk because I'm tired. You know? But let them know. Where can they find you? You know, give them all the information. What, you know, just be the junk joint and just tell everybody where they can find you and everything. All
right. For the music fans that want to know what I'm talking about on my songs, you can check out the Shadow Band YouTube site. That's Nate Smoove Media. And the Smoove is Smoove. Nate Smoove Media on YouTube. I'm setting up a Rumble account so I can transfer all my stuff over there because ever since 2010, YouTube has been, they got like a ceiling on how many subscribers I can get and plays. So that's a long story and a whole nother chapter, but the music is over there. Or you know, the music, anywhere you Google Nate Smoove music, you'll see it.
Okay.
And the podcast is Nathaniel Noble Jr Podcast. You can check that out at Mr. Noble Podcast.com. NOBLE, Mr. Noble Podcast, or anywhere podcasts can be found. Google, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever, Amazon, Nathaniel Noble Jr Podcast.
Okay.
And I think that's it. Anywhere else you can find Nathaniel Noble Jr Podcast or Nate Smoove Music, that's where I'll be. Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so you guys heard that, right? So reach out to him. He talks about politics. He just talks about everything. So
talk about life.
Life, yeah. And you know, sometimes life, you know, it kicks us sometimes, especially when we're down. So absolutely, go check him out over there. Get some good music. You know, actually stories that are told in songs that you understand and you can envision yourself being there. You know, so check him out. All right. Well, thank you so very much. Look, I feel like we don't talk so much. You know, I appreciate you coming on again. And, you know, anytime you need me or whatever, you know, I'm right there.
Holla at you. Same here. Reach out and touch. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you guys so very much. You know how to get in touch with me. 973-214-6464. Anything that have to do with relationships or work-life balance. Or my website, drlamarspencer.com or drlamarspencer@gmail.com. Nowadays, the only thing you have to do is Google person. All the information is right there.
Right.
You know, so again, thank you so very much. And like, we're out of here. I'm going to put on this. And you know what? We're going to wrap it up and we're going to talk again later. All right, here we go.
You've been listening to The Truth of the Matter with Dr. Spencer. Yes, we talk about taboo topics, but that's life. And we keep it real and raw. Our passion is to educate and enlighten. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review the show. And we'll be back soon. But if you have a unique relationship situation and you'd like help, or you're tired of having to choose between your career and personal life, Dr. Lamar Renee Spencer is a life alignment strategist and a certified life, relationship, and business coach. So make sure to reach out on Instagram and TikTok at Dr. Lamar Spencer, on Twitter at Dr. Spencer15, on Facebook at Dr. Lamar Renee Spencer, and the website drlamarspencer.com. Or go old school and call 973-214-6464. Don't forget to purchase the book, The Depth and Diversity with Relationships. Find it on Amazon and the website. See you next time on The Truth of the Matter.